Hey, my name's James Rocco with RedCritter. Today I'm going to show you how to connect your RedCritter account to Google Glass. It's a pretty easy process. All you need are a pair of these Google glasses, a Google account registered to the glasses, and then just a free RedCritter.com account, which I've just created right here. Really the only thing I did was swap out my profile photo, which you can do right there. But what I want to focus on is the Publish and Share button. We allow you to publish your accomplishments to multiple social networks. The same way you would connect to LinkedIn, Yammer, Twitter, or Facebook, you would connect to Google Glass. So you'll notice a connect link under the Glass logo. Click that. If you're already logged into Google, all you have to do is click accept. And then you can actually customize the items that you want to show up in your Google Glass. So you can select all for your professional achievements and also all for your personal achievements. So everything that happens to your profile, you're going to get a Google Glass alert, which is pretty cool. All right, so if you did that right, you should see up in your display here an alert pop in. There it is right there. That's the Glass Explorer badge. That basically signals that you've connected it successfully. So now, swipe down. I'm going to show you how to create your own app and your own badge and award them the exact same way. First, you'll notice also on my profile here, if I refresh that, you'll see that this badge is now there. That's the Glass Explorer badge. Super cool. Simply go to redcritterconnector.com. So what's really cool about RedCritter Connector is that you can create your own badges, certs, skills, and award them using our open APIs. And everything's REST-based, so it's very easy to do. So let's say you want to give a badge to your coworkers or friends. This is the process you'd go through. If you don't already have a RedCritter Connector account, you can get one for as little as $9.99 a month. But I already have an account, so I'll just sign in. So once you're logged in, we'll just create a new app for this demo. We'll call it Google Glass. Once you're ready, just click Create New App. There's a lot you can customize here, but for now, you're pretty much done. Just click Save. Now, let's create a badge. So you see this big New button on the bottom left? Hit New, Badge, and we'll call this the Top Performer Badge. So under the badge configuration page, first thing you should do is swap out that badge graphic. You can upload any PNG image with an alpha channel. Once you have your graphic uploaded, you can move it, resize it, really make it look good inside of this area. And you'll notice we add reflections, we make it a consistent look across all of your achievements. We also allow you to change the colors if you wanted to spice it up a little bit. That looks good. Just click Next. You can preview your badge at a few different sizes. Click Next once again, and now that's what your badge looks like. If you click Save down there, your badge is saved. There's a few more options down here, which you feel free to play around with. Basically a lot of logic that you can set in Connector that would override any API calls that you might be making. Just go back here, let's check to make sure, yep, there it is right there. So my Top Performer badge is there. So now what I want to do is actually award this badge to the account that I just created through RedCritter. To do that, let's pop on over to the Learn page on redcritterconnector.com. If I go to this API reference, you'll see we have an award badge API call here, and you can actually get some more details on it right there. What I'm going to do is just copy this URL string, and I'm going to open up Notepad to make this easy. I'll paste that right there. So you'll notice there's a few variables that I need to replace here. My secret key, which is actually listed in RedCritter Connector. If I go to my settings, you'll see this access key down here. Just simply double click that. We can copy that and then go back to your desktop, and we'll swap out secret key, profile entity. Here you need to add the email address of the person you want to send the badge to, and the badge name, Top Performer. So now what's going to happen when I paste this into a browser, it's going to give me a JSON response. Well, let's try that out. I'll just throw that URL in there. And you'll see that we did get a JSON response. I don't need to open that because I'm pretty sure I know what it looks like. So you want to check your inbox. You should have an invitation to join the new app that you just created, just like you see here. So if I click add to my profile and then just type in my credentials, you'll notice that my profile just updated with this new top performer badge. And I should see it once again pop up in my display. There it is right there. That looks pretty cool. So that's the badge that I just created. And it's right there in my Google display, which is pretty awesome. You know, pretty much any feature in RedCritter Connector, from badges to search to skills, can all be published to your Google Glass display. So you can create a really cool interactive experience for all of your employees, whether it be a call center, sales team, sky's the limit. So go to redcritterconnector.com and click how it works. So on this page, there's a little bit of information here on our recommended process. There's basically 4 steps: identify, design, deploy, and measure. Now I'm going to walk you through the first 3 steps. That way you can get the hang of the system and do more with it if you want. And so before you log in, on the page that this video is hosted, there's a link down here that says download assets. If you run that, it'll open up a zip file with an assets folder. Drag that to your desktop. You'll notice that there's a few files in this folder. There's a few logos, a support specialist icon, and a reward graphic. These are all things we're going to use at some point during the tutorial. So you'll notice these 2 reference files. Go ahead and open those both up. So I identified an objective here, and it's I want my desk.com support specialist to focus on resolving higher priority cases. On the design part of that, this is where we tie RedCritter objects to desk.com objects. And so the way I'm going to implement this, I'm going to create an action in RedCritter through action points, which we're going to configure. It's going to affect a leaderboard. It's going to give out badges to my top specialists. And then I'm also going to create a skill that also will be influenced by this action. And so every time an action happens in desk.com, it comes into RedCritter and is processed, triggering updates to each of these items. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, I'll show you how to create a reward store. And we'll actually give reward points based on those high priority tickets. So we're going to add some more conditions. And so, step number 2 is to design in RedCritter, and step number 3 is to deploy in desk.com. So since I've identified my objective, let's go ahead and just jump right into RedCritter Connector. Before we begin, if you click the Learn section right here, this is where we have a lot of our API references, video walkthroughs. Chances are if you're confused on something, we've answered it somewhere in this section. And then also check out the pricing page. If you don't already have a RedCritter Connector account, you can create one for as little as $9.99 a month. We definitely recommend doing that. And we also give you a free 30-day trial. Since I already have an account, I'll just click sign in on the top right. Okay, so I just signed in. The first thing I want to do is create a new app. You'll notice I have a few apps right here. These are all self-contained RedCritter implementations, and I'm going to do the same thing with my desk.com integration. So click New, App, and we'll call this app my desk.com app. When you're ready, click Create New App. First thing you should do is change the app icon. You can do that by clicking Edit next to App Icon. In that zip file I had you download earlier, there are a few logos here for desk.com. I'm actually just going to pick number 3, but you can pick another one if you want. Once you upload the image, you have the option to kind of resize it and make it fit really nice inside of this display. And it is a square area, so that's why I chose the square icon. You'll notice if you go too high, it might start cutting off. And so once you get that centered in there, that looks pretty good. If you go back to that text document, and these are all official desk.com colors as a part of their branding guide. Right click, copy it, and then I can simply paste that in place. And that's that purple color. That looks pretty good. If you click the next arrow, you can preview your app's icon in a few different sizes. Still looks good, so I'm going to hit next one more time. And now my app icon has been updated. If I go down the page, you'll notice there's some more configuration options here. But for now, just click Save. and your app's been saved. Now, while we're here, you also notice the button that says Access Key. Click that, and double click on the secret key, right click, and copy. If you go back to Notepad and scroll down a little bit, you'll notice as a part of some of these API keys, we require a secret key. And so you can actually just paste that right in place for that first one. I'll make this bigger. Just go ahead and save that file just in case you lose it. Go back to RedCritter. And so now I'm going to refer to the diagram that I included with this. The first thing I wanted to do was add this action. And then we'll add in these triggers for each one of these objects. So first, I'll add the action. Just click New, Action, and we'll call this Resolved a Case. When you're done, click Create New Action. And now this is pretty much configured. All you have to do is click Save. Now we can create some action triggers. If you go back to my diagram, the first one I want to influence is a leaderboard. So if I click New, Leaderboard, we'll call this Support. When you're ready, click Create New Leaderboard. And now you'll notice there's a trigger section. Now, this is where you choose the action you just created. So first, select the time period. I'm going to choose week to date so that this leaderboard resets every week. And then where I want the sum of this action that we just created. And we're going to make this actually the top 100%. And so out of all of the people resolving cases or completing this action, I want the sum of all their action points to be ranked on this leaderboard. And then as far as a threshold to qualify, we'll just put 1. Click Save down here on the bottom. Go back and click Leaderboards to make sure, yep, there's my support leaderboard right there. And so now if I go back to my diagram, now I want to award some badges based on that same action. And so if I go and click New, Badge, we're going to give out the Top Specialist Badge. And I just added the description, you earned the Top Specialist Badge. When you're ready, click Create New Badge. Just like before, we want to swap out this icon. You'll notice this Top Specialist PNG file that I included. Keep in mind, you can upload any image as long as it's a PNG graphic, and it should have either a transparency or alpha channel embedded in it. But this is one I included with the assets file. Similar to before, you can kind of scale your image in and out to fit within this area. And then you can even configure different colors. Well, I actually kind of like that. Maybe you want something a little darker. If you wanted to use the desk.com colors, there's custom hex codes right here. Feel free. When you're done configuring, click the next arrow. This is where you preview your badge's icon at a few different sizes. It still holds up, I like that. So I'll click next one more time, click Save, and now my badge's icon is updated. If I go down the page, there's some prerequisites here. These prerequisites are going to override any API calls you might be making. So just keep that in mind if you have any issues. We're not going to change any of that. What we're going to do is go down to Trigger, and then we're going to use an action trigger. So similar to how we just did the leaderboard, I want this to be a week to date badge. So every week that count is going to reset, where the sum of all of these actions, and then I'm going to give this to my top 3 support specialists. And so if I go through this trigger one more time, it's going to include all data from this week. It's going to reset every week, where the sum of all of my case resolved action points is going to award a badge to my top 3 people. And then the threshold to qualify, we'll just say you have to have at least 1 action point to qualify. We'll click Save. And now that that's saved, just go back, click Badge. Okay, that top specialist badge is still there. So that's good. And then lastly, there's a skill that we need to create and also set an action trigger to. If we click New, Skill, we'll call this skill Resolving Cases. When you're done, click Create New Skill. If you go down the page, you can actually configure up to 10 skill levels, and it's as easy as typing a new skill, declaring the required point value, and then you can just keep going on. So maybe I have a 5th skill level that requires 400 skill points to reach. You can have up to 10 levels there. Feel free to customize that. You can also configure skill degradation. Let's say you want this skill to decrease 10 points maybe every week. And so that way you can kind of weed out people that aren't using that skill as much as others by doing skill search. And then also, just like there was with the badge, there's a trigger here. And so we can choose this resolve to case trigger, and then it's going to adjust by, it'll just say the action value, because that's going to be linked to the priority value. And now that trigger is there. Just click save on the bottom. So my system's pretty much set up at this point, minus the reward store, which we'll get to in a little bit. So I'm ready to go into desk.com and add some custom configuration. You'll need a desk.com administrator account, which I'll log into right now. So once you log in, you can click up here on the top left. You might be in agent view. This is the dialog where you would select admin view. But since I'm already in the admin, all you have to do is click apps, and we're going to install a custom app using this custom action right here. Click install, and then install custom action. Now it's very important you read all of these policies and procedures. And then when you're ready, click accept on the bottom. Now we're going to call this action simply RedCritter. And then the authentication method, none. And then the URL, if you go back to that text file, simply highlight this right here, redcritterconnector.com/desk.ashx. Paste that in right here. When you're ready, click create. And now under installed apps on the left, you should see RedCritter. So now let's create our first action. As for the title, let's call this add action based on case priority. It's going to be helpful later on if you are more detailed with this. And then the message that you want to post, if you go back to Notepad, the method is add action. That's the API function we're performing. The action name is resolve to case. That should match what you set up in RedCritter. If it doesn't already exist in RedCritter connector, it'll actually create a new action based on whatever you name this. So just be knowledgeable of that. Profile entity, this is actually the email address of whoever the case is assigned to. And then the value, we're going to make the value of this action whatever the priority number on the case is. So if it's a level 5 priority case, you're going to get 5 action points when you resolve it. Then lastly, secret key. This will not work without that secret key variable. And so we'll just highlight all of that, click copy, come back here, delete what's already in there, right click and paste. And that should be all you need to do to add this action. Click add action. Go ahead and turn it on. And now you've got this custom action in place. Now you have to set up a business rule to trigger this action. If you go to cases, click rules, and go down to case resolved. This is where we're going to put our first rule. First, click add rule. We're going to call this one gives action points for resolving a case. When you're ready, click add. And then under conditions, under the all condition, we'll select the case assigned agent is not unassigned. And so that verifies that credit is given to whoever's assigned to that ticket. And then rule actions, click add action. We'll select the trigger an app action. And then this is what we just set up a second ago, add action based on case priority. If you go down here, make sure it's enabled, and then click Update. And so now here, you'll see that this is on. And so now I can go into the agent portal, and if I create and resolve a ticket that's assigned to me, a few things should happen. So let's try it out. Okay, so here is a sample ticket called Test 1. I'm going to make the priority 10. And then the agent, I'm actually just going to assign to myself. Now I'm going to go ahead and update and resolve this case. Okay, so that should have been successful. Normally, you'll see activity happening here within the app. These are all real-time feeds. But since my account is not currently connected to this app, you're not going to see anything, and I'm not going to be credited for anything. So what I have to do is go into my email inbox and opt into this app. I'll show you what that looks like. So here in my inbox, this is what your app invitation should look like. You'll see the app icon that you customize right there. If you configured an app domain, that would show up right here. And then you have the option to either add it to an existing profile or to start a new one. I'm just going to go ahead and add it to my existing one. And now when I sign in using my credentials, it's going to award me those items that it was supposed to. Okay, so we're signed in here. We'll wait a few seconds and you'll notice this wants to refresh my page. Now you see that I have the Top Specialist badge. If I click that, you'll notice this came from my desk.com app. And then this is the custom description I actually wrote in there. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. And if I go down, you'll notice I have this new skill called Resolving Cases. That's cool. If I go up to my new tab, this kind of gives me a list of all the recent activity that's happened in my profile. You'll notice here I'm in first place on the support leaderboard. To go there, I click standings, and you'll notice at the top here, if I click support, I'm currently the only one on this leaderboard, but I've got 10 points and that reads like it's supposed to. And then if you click apps and rewards up at the top, you should see my desk.com app right there. And this is actually where your reward store is going to be listed. If I go back to my agent portal in desk.com, I just created a new sample ticket. And I want to show you how this works, dependent on that priority level. So we'll just set this to a priority of 2. I'll assign it to myself just like before, and then I'll click Update and Resolve. If I go back to Connector, you just saw all those things come in real time. So I triggered the Resolved a Case action, which is worth 2 points. That was the priority number of that case. So I passed that 2 in, and then that triggered my skill to go up 2 points. And so I'm now 12% complete on that skill, which is pretty cool. And then I gained 2 points for my support leaderboard. So if I go back to my RedCritter profile, click refresh here. If I go down, this resolving cases ticked up just a couple of points, not too noticeable right now. If I go to standings and click on support, you'll see now I have 12 points. I did have 10 points. And then since this badge is given to the top 3 people, I still have that badge. But if I lost that badge, I would have been notified and it would have dropped off my profile. Okay, so it seems like we've got that action working correctly in RedCritter. And so now when I go back to my diagram, you'll see the kind of the second phase of my design is that I want to create a reward store. Now, that's pretty easy to do in Connector. We'll just go right back to the portal and then click App Domains here on the bottom. Now, let's say you had different teams or departments. You could create a new app domain for each one of those teams and departments. And then it's basically kind of like having an app within an app. Each one of those departments would get a whole nother set of configuration options, and that would override anything at the app level. But first, go down here under the rewards section. You want to make sure that that's configured correctly with someone's email address that might be in charge of that part of the program. And especially if you have gift cards enabled. If you wanted to enable gift cards, you could actually add funds. Let's say you wanted to add $100 here, and then create as many gift cards as you want. And if the funds dip below that amount, they're just simply removed from your store. And it's an automated process, and you can even map real dollars to virtual currency points using our platform. For now, just click No. We'll actually teach you how to use gift cards in another video. So just click Save, and then once again, click this access key down here. Each app domain gets a separate secret key and public key. These are all unique to that app domain. And so this is actually the one I'm going to use for my Adjust Reward Points API call. If I go back to Notepad, scroll down, you'll see this Adjust Reward Points API. Just simply double-click that token right there and replace it with the secret key. And so to explain this method right here, we're doing the Adjust Reward Points function. which is a part of our open APIs. The profile entity, like before, is the email address of the person that's been assigned to that case. The amount of points, I'm going to make the case priority variable from within desk.com. And then I can add a comment here. I'm going to be specific with it and put in some more variables. You resolved high priority case number, whatever the case ID is, and earned whatever that case priority number is, which is the same thing as the points. So just basically telling them how many points they just earned and the ID of the case that they earned it on. And then lastly, secret key, you need to have that for any API call you do. And this is targeting this default app domain specifically. And so now I'm ready to create a reward. So click New, Reward, and we'll call this Take a Day Off. When you're done, click Create New Reward. And just like before, the first thing you should do is change out this icon. If you click it and click Upload, I included a takeoff.png file here, just a fun image to stick in there. Click Next. Once again, you can preview what it looks like. Click Next one more time. Now that reward has a custom icon. Now I'm going to make the point cost of this, maybe I'm going to make that 10,000. If there's a lot of traffic coming through the system, 10,000 seems like a good amount. Available quantity, we'll just make this maybe 5. If there were 5 people that bought this, it would drop off and not be an option anymore. There's a few more options, but that's pretty good. Click Save and go back. Just make sure it's there. There you go. And then go back to your desk.com administrator account. Go back to Apps. Click RedCritter. And we're going to add another action here. The title of this one, we're going to say Adjust Reward Points Based on Case Priority. All right, the options are pretty similar from before. Go back to Notepad. This is the API call we need to make. Right click, copy, and then we'll delete that and paste that right in place. And when you're ready, click Add Action. That looks good. Be sure to turn that on and go back to your cases, rules, case resolved. And we're going to create another rule right in the same area that we created the other one. So click Add Rule. Give reward points for resolving an urgent case. Click Add. And now let's add in that same condition. The assigned agent is not unassigned. And we're also going to add in one more. The case priority is greater than 5. And so if the case priority is more than 5, that's when I want this action to take place. So if I scroll down, we'll click Add Action next to Rule Actions, find Trigger an App Action, and then select Adjust Reward Points based on case priority, which you just configured a second ago. Now that's good. Click Update. And if you didn't click Enabled, you just click On right there. Now this reward point rule should be in effect. So I have another sample ticket here. This is test 3. I'm going to set the priority to 6, and then I'm going to assign it to myself, and then I'll simply update and resolve it. If I go to connector, you'll see all these things triggering in the system, and that all happened in real time. You'll see here I gained 6 reward points. I triggered that same action, 6 points worth. It triggered my skill increase as well as my leaderboard improvement. If I go back to my RedCritter profile, I need to refresh your profile, click on New. You'll see the same message right there. Skill increased and points increased. If I go to my leaderboard, there I am still at the top with 18 points. That's from the 3 tests we just did. That's 10 plus 2 plus 6. And then if I go to apps and rewards, the difference now is that I have some actual reward points right here under the mydesk.com app. So if I click those reward points, you'll see the reward that I set up earlier. It's 10,000 points, so I'm not quite there yet. I've got to resolve a lot of higher priority tickets. but rest assured you can add some more rewards to the store to encourage people along the way. And that's pretty much it for this Deaths.com integration video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.